Hey, what's going on, everyone? So, there is news out of California that California is allowing more than single family zoning. Basically, they're allowing like two properties on the lot, and they're allowing, I believe, like apartment buildings in single family housing zoning. So, what used to happen in California is that only single family houses were allowed to be built in single family housing zones, which are like 99% of America and 99% of California. So now they're battling a huge homeless crisis, and they decided to allow like two properties per area. So where there was one house allowed on one lot, there is two houses allowed. Big, huge difference, one and two. And they're also allowing apartments. Well, in maybe any other country, it wouldn't be a huge deal, but it is a huge deal in California. So, firstly, my thoughts on this. This is not going to solve the housing price crisis. This is going to improve it like 1%. Okay, because even if they're allowing apartments inside like single family houses, still getting permits for those apartments will be a huge pain in the ass, just like it is to do anything else in California. So it's not going to solve the housing crisis at all. Secondly, see, the issue is that in California, just like everywhere in America, there's different types of people who live in apartments and single family houses. So, for example, in Europe or Russia, it's not a huge deal where they build apartments next to houses. Like, for example, there are tons of apartment complexes that are next to like what you could call single family houses. It's not a huge deal. Do you know why? Because the people who live in those apartment buildings and the people who live in houses don't have a lot of conflicts. Like, they live near each other, even though, well, here's the thing. Like, if it's really expensive houses next to apartment complexes, even then it's not a big deal because the people who live in it are similar. But a lot of times they're next to houses which are like village types of houses. Not in America, though. In America, the people who live in apartment buildings and single family houses are very, very different. The people who live in apartment buildings are not the type of people who you want to be around because there's a lot of crime going on, a lot of poverty, a lot of drug use, and all that. And that's why people who live in single family houses don't want apartments next to their houses. So it's going to create a lot of conflicts. Just because California allowed it by law doesn't mean that there isn't going to be battles every time they are wanting to go to approve an apartment complex in a single family zone. They're going to have the stupid city council meetings, town meetings. They're going to try to cancel it, and the typical California fashion of how the not in my backyard type of a thing. you know they are not going to want to do it. So it's not going to solve anything. They're trying to. I will tell you what could change the crisis in America if they started building huge buildings out of cement. 2 3 story wooden chicken coops is not going to solve any. You need to build like Soviet Union type of housing all around, like massive, thousands and thousands of units. Just go off of it. But it's never going to happen. So the homeless crisis is going to continue.